Welcome back, collectors and coin enthusiasts, to another episode of the Coins Numismatic Series. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most charming, nostalgic, and historically rich coins from mid-century America, the 1952 Wheat Penny. This humble 1-cent piece may seem ordinary at first glance, but beneath its reddish-brown patina lies a fascinating story of post-war optimism, changing mints, design symbolism, and the enduring legacy of Lincoln himself. So, grab your magnifying glass, settle in, and let's uncover every detail, every secret, and every ounce of value behind the 1952 Wheat Penny in fine condition. Let's start at the beginning, the context. The year was 1952. The United States was at the height of the Korean War, Dwight D. Eisenhower had just been elected president, and the country was shifting from the hardships of the 1940s into the prosperity of the 1950s. The economy was booming, suburban life was expanding, and American coinage reflected a nation that was both proud of its past and confident about its future. And right in everyone's pocket jingled the ever-familiar Lincoln Wheat Penny, a coin that had already become an American icon since its debut in 1909. The 1952 Wheat Penny continued the legacy of Victor David Brenner's classic design, which first replaced the Indian head cent more than 4 decades earlier. Brenner's depiction of Abraham Lincoln was revolutionary in 1909 because it was the first time a real person appeared on a U.S. circulating coin. By 1952, it was more than just a design, it was a symbol of unity, endurance, and honesty. And for millions of Americans, that little Lincoln cent was a reminder of the man who guided the nation through its most perilous years. Now, when we hold a 1952 Wheat Penny in our hands, especially one in fine condition, we're not just looking at a copper coin. We're looking at a piece of living history, a survivor of countless pockets, cash registers, and decades of circulation. In fine condition, the coin has seen its share of use. You'll notice light wear across Lincoln's cheek and jaw, with most of the major details still visible. The hairlines and coat lines may be soft, but they retain definition. The reverse, with its elegant wheat stalks framing the words, 1 cent, shows moderate wear, but the lettering remains clear, bold, and legible. The rim might show slight smoothing, yet the overall eye appeal remains strong for collectors who appreciate coins with character and honest wear. Let's look more closely at the design. On the obverse, the front, we see Abraham Lincoln facing right, as dignified as ever. The word liberty stands to his left, and the motto, "In God We Trust," arcs proudly above his head. To the right is the date, 1952, a simple yet powerful reminder of a specific moment in time. For collectors, that date immediately identifies an era, the early 1950s, when copper was still the dominant metal in the 1-cent coin. Below the date, depending on where it was minted, you might see a small letter, D for Denver, or an S for San Francisco, or no letter at all, indicating it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Flip the coin over, and you're greeted with the reverse design, the famous wheat ears. The 2 stylized stalks of wheat, one on each side, give this coin its nickname, the Wheat Penny, or Wheat Cent. They frame the central inscriptions, 1 cent, and United States of America, while above them sits the noble phrase, E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one. It's a simple design, but it carries immense symbolism, the wheat representing agricultural prosperity, and the inscriptions echoing unity and strength. Together, these elements created one of the most enduring and beloved coin designs in U.S. history. Now, let's talk numbers, the mintage figures. In 1952, the U.S. Mint produced the Wheat Penny at 3 locations, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint struck approximately 186 million coins, the Denver Mint produced a whopping 746 million, and the San Francisco Mint turned out around 137 million. Combined, that's over 1 billion Lincoln Wheat Pennies minted in a single year, making it one of the more plentiful issues of the series. However, as every numismatist knows, availability in high grade or with unique characteristics can make a world of difference. A 1952 Wheat Penny in fine condition, like the one we're focusing on, is far from rare. It's a common date in circulated grades, yet it still carries collector appeal because of its vintage charm and classic wheat design. In fine condition, these coins typically trade for around 5 to 15 cents, depending on the mint mark and overall appearance. The Denver issues are the most common, while the San Francisco issues tend to bring a slight premium. The Philadelphia coins, lacking a mint mark, sit comfortably in between, but don't let the modest price fool you. The 1952 Wheat Penny plays an important role in completing a full Lincoln cent collection. Every serious Wheat Penny collector knows that even the common dates must be represented, and finding one in a pleasing fine grade with natural toning, full rims, and no damage can still be satisfying. In fact, coins like this are often where many collectors start. They're affordable, abundant, and rich in history. Let's dig deeper into the metal composition. The 1952 Wheat Penny was struck from a bronze alloy, specifically 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This composition gives the coin its warm reddish-brown hue, which over time can develop beautiful variations in tone. Depending on storage and circulation, some examples take on a soft chocolate brown patina, while others retain traces of original red luster around the edges. That's one of the joys of copper coins: no two age in exactly the same way. Each one tells its own visual story. Now, for those fascinated by errors and varieties, the 1952 Wheat Penny offers a few interesting surprises. While there are no extremely famous or dramatic errors from this year like you'd see in some other dates, there are several collectible varieties. Some 1952 D pennies exhibit repunched mint marks, small variations where the D was struck twice, creating a slight doubling effect. Others show minor die cracks, die chips, or misalignments, which add charm and individuality. A handful of double die obverse and reverse examples have also been reported, though they're relatively scarce and often require magnification to detect. Collectors of error coins always look for off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or coins struck on defective blanks, all of which can exist in 1952 issues. A dramatic off-center strike can bring several dollars, while a clean, strong strike with a visible doubled mint mark might catch a collector's eye for much more. So even among the billions minted, there are hidden gems waiting to be discovered, proof that attention to detail can literally pay off. What makes the 1952 Wheat Penny even more interesting is where it stands in the broader timeline of U.S. cents. Just 7 years later, in 1959, the reverse design would change forever. The familiar wheat ears would be replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design, marking the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. That means the 1952 issue sits firmly in the final decade of the Wheat Penny era, a period now viewed with deep nostalgia by collectors and historians alike. Every coin from those final years carries a touch of sentimental value, representing the end of a design that had defined nearly half a century of American coinage. Now let's explore the market and collector interest. The value of a coin isn't determined only by its rarity, it's shaped by demand, condition, and story. While 1952 Wheat Pennies in fine condition aren't rare, they have consistent demand because collectors building year sets or date and mint mark sets always need them. Fine condition is a sweet spot for many hobbyists, affordable enough for beginners, yet detailed enough for display. These coins often find their way into albums and folders, especially the classic blue Whitman coin folders that so many collectors grew up with. For investors and advanced collectors, higher grades become the focus. Uncirculated 1952 Wheat Pennies, especially those with original red luster, can fetch several dollars each, and pristine examples graded MS-65 or higher may sell for $20 to $40 or more. Proof versions, struck in Philadelphia for collectors, are another story entirely, with beautiful mirror surfaces and low mintages of around 81,980 pieces. Those proofs are prized by specialists, particularly when preserved without spots or toning. But even the circulated fine example we're discussing today has its charm, a quiet testament to decades of honest use and the enduring power of design. For many collectors, part of the appeal lies in the story of where these coins have been. Imagine the journey of a 1952 Wheat Penny, minted in Denver, shipped out across the country, perhaps used to buy a soda at a drugstore, tucked away in a child's piggy bank, and rediscovered decades later by a curious hobbyist. That personal connection, the sense that this tiny piece of metal has witnessed history, is what makes coin collecting so much more than just numbers and prices. It's about discovery, memory, and preservation. Let's not forget that the 1952 wheat penny also stands as a representation of American craftsmanship. These coins were struck on high-speed presses, but with remarkable precision for their time. The relief on Lincoln's portrait, the fine grain of the wheat stalks, and the sharpness of the lettering all demonstrate the mint's attention to quality. Even in fine condition, those artistic details still shine through. It's a blend of art and engineering that continues to fascinate collectors of all ages. Now, when you're evaluating a 1952 wheat penny in fine condition, there are a few key details to look for. The word "Liberty" should still be readable, though perhaps slightly soft. Lincoln's facial features should be distinct, even if a bit worn. On the reverse, the wheat lines will be mostly smooth in the center, but the outer edges should retain their texture. The color should be even, whether brown or reddish-brown, without heavy corrosion or pitting. A coin that meets these criteria is considered solidly fine and makes a handsome addition to any collection. That it's also important to store copper coins properly. Exposure to humidity or improper materials can cause green corrosion or dark spots, which lower a coin's value. Collectors often use archival quality holders or coin flips to preserve them. And for anyone building a wheat penny set, the 1952 is one of those dates that fills an important mid-century slot, a bridge between the post-war 1940s issues and the late 1950s transition coins. And the grand story of the Lincoln cent. The 1952 wheat penny may not be the rarest or most valuable, but it's one of the most representative of its time. A coin that speaks to mid-century America, the golden era of small-town values, and the power of simple design. It reminds us that even the most common coins carry meaning when we look close enough. So the next time you come across a 1952 wheat penny, take a moment to really look at it. Notice the smoothness of Lincoln's cheek, the fading lines of the wheat, and the soft glow of old copper. That coin has been handled by generations, passed through countless hands, and survived 70+ years to reach yours. And whether it's worth 10 cents or $10, its true value lies in the story it tells. A story of history, artistry, and enduring American spirit, and that's the beauty of numismatics. Every coin, no matter how ordinary it may seem, holds a history worth uncovering. The 1952 wheat penny is proof of that, a small piece of copper that continues to connect us to our past. So keep your eyes open, your magnifier ready, and your curiosity alive. Because in this hobby, you never know when the next great find might appear in your change. Thank you for joining me in this deep dive into the 1952 wheat penny. If you enjoyed this exploration, make sure to subscribe to Coins Numismatic Series for more in-depth looks at the coins that shaped our world. Until next time, keep collecting, keep learning, and keep discovering the stories written in metal.